What's up, YouTube? My name is Uncle Smokey, and this is Uncle Smokey Stock Trades. And before I start this video, I would like to say, I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So please take what I say with a grain of salt, and do your own DD. Alright guys, so today I went and got my vaccine. I did post a video of it earlier, but here's a quick clip of it. Anyway, I'm done. I'm good. I've got my vaccine. I got my card. I already filled out all my information. I'm going to be buying my ticket next week. My YouTube monetization check hits tomorrow. So I will get my plane ticket and my ticket for the expo on Monday. And then I'll probably wait a few more days to get my hotel. Sometimes they get a little cheaper the closer you get. I'm not going to be staying real close to this place. I'm going to get a cheap, dumpy one, like a Mmat Inn or a Best Western or something. That's what I'm going for. Anyway, yeah, here's the video. All right, here we are, YouTube. We're getting the vax. Check it out. Ow. And it was that fast and easy. Oh, it feels like peanut butter going in. That's absolutely crazy. Ow. Okay, I got to make sure I work that arm out. All right, guys, I'll be seeing you tonight. Whew. California, here I come. What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about ticker symbol MMAT, Metamaterials Inc. We're going to go through the technical analysis, we're going to go through the options chain, Ortex, and Fintel. But we've got something way more important than that going on today. We just had a 13D filed at the end of the day, right at about 5:30. In fact, I got home and boom, there it was in my email from Fintel that this was filed. So we're going to crack into that here in just a little bit. Before we do, let's talk about today's price action. So today we opened up the day at $4 and... I guess I wasn't prepared for this. $4.83. We hit a high of $4.97, a low of $4.71, and we closed the day out today at $4.74. Finishing down 2.67% on the day. And that is on 5.5 million in volume. As you can see, not totally prepared for this video because I have been digging into this 13D. So, and in all honesty, today's price action was not that significant. We didn't hit a low that we're unfamiliar with. In fact, as low as we went was $4.71, and we have seen that recently in the last couple of days, $4.70 right there, and then the day before that coming down as low as $4.66. So I wouldn't consider that too much of a concern. Basically, a consolidation day at best. Yes, it is in a downward trend, and we've been talking about that a lot lately. Now, of course, when you've got no PR coming out and basically a lot of stagnation, you're not going to see a lot of upward movement. So I wouldn't be too concerned about what you're seeing. It's not like we're dumping off. There's no dumping here. It's just a consolidation level. That's all it is. And I would like for people to think of it that way. We have seen way worse. In fact, if we go out here to the one-day chart, I don't remember... right here, that was all consolidation right here, very similar to what we're seeing here. So you're seeing this at a higher level. You know what that means, right? We're getting ready to make the next level. This was downward action, slow, steady downward pressure. We're getting the same thing, only it's not followed, or it's not preceded by a major dip. Okay, so again, I'm not too concerned about it. Now I will say that the RSI is currently dipping down. Histogram is still looking a bit red there. Got a little bit bigger today. And unfortunately, the MACD is still hooking down. But we do still have the 50-day MA moving up, as well as the 200-day moving up. We'd really like to see a bounce off of this 50-day moving average. I hate to see it go below these moving averages, because then you're really turning it into a bear trend. And I know darn well that that's not what anybody wants to see right now. They don't want to see this thing go full bear. So what we're really looking for is kind of a bounce off of this line tomorrow. Now, let's move on to the next thing. Let's go to the options chain. All right, so we're here in the options chain, and with low volume, as we've talked about before, you're going to have low volume in the options chain as well. Now, we only had about 5,500 calls and 800 puts. Still a very bullish day, but unfortunately, there was no volume in the day. So... I mean, it is what it is, guys. We're trading sideways right now. And again, like I just said a few minutes ago, it's downward, but it's not a big worry. We keep bouncing off of key levels of support, showing that those lines of support and resistance, they really matter. They're doing their job, okay? So I wouldn't consider myself too much with this low volume in the options chain once again. IV did come down a little bit more to 109.5%. That's absolutely amazing. When people do start pouring into this thing, that means that the profits are going to start going through the roof in this options chain because it's got a lot of room to run. We've seen this thing upwards of 170 and 180 in recent weeks. So I would start really looking at this implied volatility, and knowing that we have just come out of a expiration date, start thinking that possibly we'll see some volatility pushing back into the options chain. And that would be, awesome for anybody who's holding options for November. All right. Let's move on past this and go to the intranet. So here we are at Ortex. I'm not going to hit refresh. I promise you this is accurate data, up-to-date time, everything. Again, I'm having internet issues. We just had a tornado. It was like 3 of them came through my area. It was absolutely crazy. Nothing actually hit the ground, but they were talking winds and stuff, and it actually knocked some poles and stuff down. That's why I'm so late to all of this. I had to wait for service to resume. But it took about an hour, and it's no big deal. Anywho, so here we go on to the Ortex data. So again, I put this out every single morning before market open, usually. Today, utilization was at 89.61%. Cost to borrow was down to 6.14%, and there is 2.47 days to cover. Current number of shares on loan are at 42.26 million, which is 18.27% of the free float. Now, I'm going to cover this real quick. This is not updated regularly like the rest of this stuff is. This is a couple weeks old. This is from September 30th, but this is what they reported on September 30th. This is what is reported to the NASDAQ from the third party, basically, that reports to them. And it's only stuff that's reported. So if there was things that were not reported, hinky stuff that's going on that's not supposed to, they're never going to know about it. So there's 25 million in short interest. That's 25 million shares. Compare that to the 42 million shares that are on loan. That shows a discrepancy of about 18 million, 17 million shares, roughly. And that can, again, explain why we're seeing a lot of the short interest change, because they're returning shares, but they're not returning shorted shares. So today returned 3.39 million shares, and they borrowed an additional 1.47 million shares. All right. Again, and just because they're, borrowed doesn't mean they're not, just because they're on loan, it doesn't mean they're shorted. Just because they were returned, it doesn't mean they were shorted shares that were returned. So just always keep that in mind. And what do we got here? So average number of days on loan right now, and this is as of yesterday, we're at 22.60 days, which shows that the shorts have not been covering. Their days on loan are getting longer. Now, I know it reduced a smidgen from yesterday, but that's nothing. You're going to have small reductions when there is a little bit of coverage. And believe me, there was coverage. It just, not all of this was coverage. Most of it was just returning of shares. All right, let's move on to Fintel. Fintel. 77.73 out of 100 on the short squeeze score. Currently, 550,000 shares available from a leading prime brokerage. Now, once again, today we had the same situation. They sucked all of the shares out, brought it all the way down to 0 this time, and then they introduced a whole bunch back. Okay, they returned a whole bunch back. And I would be willing to bet that was during those big dips and then quick spikes up. It's a way for market makers and hedge funds to literally play the system. It's algorithmic trading. We've talked about this in the past. Algorithmic trading. They're able to take these shares and they can trade them really fast back and forth. Well, they can do that as well over here like this. They'll cover a little bit and then they'll short a ton. And then they'll cover a little bit and then they'll short a bunch. Now, this here was just some barcoding. But this is another short attack. Now, I'm not going to say that it all was. There could have been some selling pressure as well. But the vast majority of the paper hands have probably been all filtered out by now. When we drop below $5, that probably scared a lot of the people off. You're going to have a lot of OGs in here right now. This is going to be a lot of the diamond-handed OG meta holders because we know what the stock's worth. And with that being said, there's somebody else who knows what the stock's worth. Let's get back to the internet. Let's finish this. 3.7% on the short borrow fee. And here is our short interest data for FINRA, which is the dark pool. So again, we know that they are over half of the volume almost every single day. There's been a couple of days where they weren't. And it was a little over half short volume today. Now, we haven't gotten any of this information in yet, but you can guarantee it's going to be a little bit higher than it was yesterday, just because we came in a little bit higher than we did yesterday. Probably going to be at that 55% level. And of course, here you go. Here's your failures to deliver. Now, with that being said, I also want to go ahead and cover this again real quick. These are aggregate, not cumulative. You don't add all these numbers up. That's not how it works. There isn't 52 bajillion failures to deliver that have never been covered ever. That just doesn't work that way, guys. There is 842,766 current failures to deliver. I would be willing to bet the vast majority of those were taken care of. They do have a small amount of time they have to cover those. And the ones that were absolutely naked probably got kicked down the road, covered up, shoved into other funds and things like that. So expect for those ones to come back and bite the hedgies in the ass later on down the road. All right. And for anybody who's wondering why I constantly look this way, it's because my microphone's over here and I think it's got a camera on it. I also like to look down because I think that this thing that says HP on it is a camera. Leave me alone. I'm an old man. All right. Now, institutional buyers. I know I'm dragging you guys on. Y'all want to know about this 13D. Institutional buyers. We did have a couple of today. In fact, we've had a couple over the last few days. We've got Belvedere Trading. They added on some of their position at 401. This is their average. That means they average down or maybe up a little bit. You've got Elevest Inc. They added a little bit here. New position on Illis Investment Partners. And you got United Asset Strategies Inc. Another new position, 15,000 shares. Welcome to the team, guys. Welcome to the club. All right. There you go. 13D. Welsh Thomas Gordon. So Thomas Gordon Welsh. Welsh or Welch. Also his wife. So we're going to go right into it. This is the 13D. So this is a activist investment. I'll tell you who else is an activist investment. Greg McCabe. Basically stating that they're supporting the company. They have invested heavily into it. This is not how much each person has. That is not the case at all. So it's showing that there is a shared dispositive power of 46,842,084 shares, which is 16.7% of the percent of class represented by the amount in a row. Row 11. So that's right here. And Annie Lambert, I'm not sure, is the other person in this shared voting power. And if you come right down here, it tells you what each one has, okay? So each one collectively has this many shares, but when you split them up, that's what it is. You got 23.5 million for Mr. Welch and 23 million for Mrs. Lambert. So I do believe they're spouses. She never changed her name. They got to be spouses to be on this. And it was from the right to acquire within 60 days of June 20. Blah, 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 blah. So basically, they exercised some options, I believe, and that's how they got this. Now, a lot of people were asking, well, if they exercise their options, isn't there supposed to be a run-up? Well, here's the thing with a 13D. A 13D has 10 days from the date of purchase or exercise to have to be filed. But if we go over here to this part here, now this is in the institutional owners. This is Thomas Gordon Welsh. If you come over here and look, this was filed today. So the reason why there hasn't been a run-up is because, well, it got filed after market close. So no, there's not been a run-up. And always keep this in mind. If they exercised options, they have the hedgies and market makers, they have X amount of time to produce those shares. So I would foresee a run-up coming here in the near future with that many options exercised, with that many shares purchased. I think there's going to be some things happening. But it looks to me like they just exercised their options that they had. It was a pre-set up agreement, which means they had a 13G filed previously, which I'm going to try and dig through all of these filings and see if I can find all this information. But my main thing I wanted to do is show you why I think this is a bullish situation right here. And I want people to stop thinking that this is a corporate takeover. Because, I mean, yes, if you look up a 13D, It is a common filing done when people try to do a corporate takeover or proxy fight. I think is what it's called. I don't think that's what this is at all, and here's why. So I looked these guys up. Anna Lambert. So Anna Lambert is Managing Director of the International Conservation Fund of Canada, ICFC. She has a degree in wildlife biology from Guelph and worked as a biologist at Long Point Bird Observatory and at the province of Ontario's Wildlife Research Section before starting a business in 1991. All right, so what I'd be willing to bet with this nice looking lady right here and then this gentleman here that doesn't show his picture here, but I do have a picture of him. He likes birds too. He just doesn't have quite as nice of a write-up as she does. But if you come over here, this is the ICFC. So they're on the board, Annie, and Tom. So he's the CFO, and she's a founding director as well and a staff member. So they really like nature. They're trying to conserve the planet. They're trying to help animals and do things like that. I highly doubt a group of individuals like this are going to be moving in on our company and trying to take it over. Here's Anna Lambert right here again. She looks so nice. And then right down here, this is Tom Welch. I used to drink at a bar with a guy who looks just like him. I mean, just like him. And he was a super cool dude. So he holds a degree from Queen's University, New York, eh? The University of Windsor, don't know where that's at, has founded and run several small businesses. Most recently, Trump's Fish Ltd. I wonder if there's a connection. I don't know. Tom serves ICFC's chief financial officer. Outside of ICFC, he is involved in private equity, specializing in green technologies. He recently served on the board of the Ecology Action Center. And of course, we're going to go right over to their website, right here. So, Ecology Action Center, 1971 to 2021, 50 years growing. So they've been around for quite a while. And it looks to me like they really just want to save the planet. There's a chance that maybe these guys here, Tom Welch and Ann Lambert, are going to be helping us along the way with our clean energy focus. Maybe there's some stuff that they want to invest in because we're solar. We've got ideas in that end of the spectrum. Remember, we have endless verticals, guys, endless verticals. So I wouldn't look for that to be a bearish sentiment. The fact that these two have increased their positions at 16.7% of the overall stock there. Great. Awesome. These guys are investors. Maybe they're going to keep investing. I don't know. I plan on finding out, of course. But as of now, this is what I've got, and this is the best I can do with the time I've had. I just wanted to go ahead and enlighten you guys on who they were, the two people that filed that 13D, and tell you that I think it's a bullish situation. I think they're just investing in a company that they can foresee be great in the future, just like all the rest of us. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move along to my prediction. All right, so here we are at the prediction page. This is the 5-minute chart that I do this on just because it's the easiest for me to get all my lines in that are relevant for the next day. So here we are on the 5-minute chart, and of course we're going to start with our bear prediction as we have been doing lately. You know what? No. Let's mix it up. Let's screw everything all up. Everything's been screwed up. Let's screw it all up. Maybe it's the COVID shot. Maybe I'm all drugged up. I doubt it. COVID shots don't do that to you. Other things do. Anyway. So let's do the bull prediction today. I mean, screw it, right? Let's screw things up. Let's see if it fixes stuff. Tomorrow, if we go bull, I don't think we'll have much of a dip. If we do, it'll probably be, I do, of course, expect for us to come back up here first into the 475 channel right in here. Sterling's mark would be a great point to launch from. If we were to have a minor dip, it would be towards that $4.65 mark, bouncing off of that. But if we can get back to Sterling's mark, I would expect to see that as a launch point, launching directly to 490, more than likely popping right through it. We've done that in the past, trading above it for a short amount of time. Tapping $5 more than likely, because that's going to be not only a technical level of resistance, but a psychological level of resistance. Bringing it back down towards that 495, 490 level, where it might trade there for a short amount of time. pushing up past 510 with a good amount of volume. We're going to need a heck of a lot more than 5 million. We would really like to see some whales stepping in here. Now, yes, tomorrow is Friday. I understand that, and I have talked about this many times over. It's day trader day. They're going to enter and they're going to exit. That's how they roll. But I'm hoping for quite the opposite, especially with the news of the 13D that was just done. I'm kind of hoping that that means that they did their options recently. Like I said, there's 84,447 failures to deliver. There's most certainly the ability for some of those failures to deliver to be some of those shares that were just exercised. So I would like to see some coverage in that, and I think we could be seeing that right in here. If you were to be relying on a T5, I believe it is, coverage date. Now, I do believe they go T2, T3, T4, and T5 all in FTDs, depending on what the category is. They're allowed X amount of time to cover those shares. All right, so I'm hoping that that's what we're going to see tomorrow. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping we see some volatility and some volume in the stock tomorrow, pushing us back towards these levels. Now, if we do break up to 510, I would expect for us to quickly push past that and get right to 520. 520 has showed up so many different times that it's going to be very difficult to get through this level of resistance. If we mount it, 530 and 535 are our next levels, and I would expect for us to stop at that point. But if we don't, I'm not complaining. Let her run, baby. Now, with that being said, if we happen to go bear tomorrow, which, let's face it, we've been having some down days. It's absolutely possible. But I'm crossing my fingers that, again, we're going to have some of that FTD coverage here coming up. I'm thinking that some of that... Let me rephrase the way I said that. Those FTDs were from way back. I'm hoping that we have more FTDs similar to that would have caused the same situation. So let me rephrase that the way I said it. I think that was confusing. So if we go bear, I would expect for a immediate test of $4.65, which is basically where we're sitting at right now in the after hours. But again, we take after hours with a grain of salt and expect it to come back to where it closed. 465, if it can't be caught at 465, unfortunately, the next strongest level of resistance that I have spotted is 455 and 450. So you're hoping for it to slow at 455 and catch at 450. Beyond that, you've got 435 and 420, and I don't even want to talk about those numbers. I mean, we could talk about 420, but let's do it on a different subject. I would expect for 450 to be probably the lowest point we go, but again, it wouldn't surprise me if it cracks a little bit lower than that. If we do get down here, expect for a bounce back up towards the $4.65 range, right in this area more than likely, trading sideways in here for a while. Again, we need some volume to step in. Without good positive buying volume, we're not going to go anywhere. If we don't have volume step in, expect for it to slip back towards that 555 channel if we get down in here. If we don't get down in here, you're going to have the same exact situation, just trading sideways like we did these last couple of days, right between 476 and the 465 range. It seems to be okay here for now. No, nobody likes it there. But if it's getting a little bit comfortable and it can trade this way for a short amount of time to get ready for its next leg up, I'm all right with it. And you should be too. Again, I've always said time and time again, I say it during the day, step away. Step away. If you're convicted, you know what this stock has and can do, you know what you hold, leave it alone. Don't worry about it. It's not important. Come check me out later on in the evening. I'll tell you about the day. If I ain't got nothing to talk about with the stock, I'll tell you about my day. Speaking of which, COVID, vaccine free, whatever you want to talk about it. I got it. I got the vax. I'm good to go. I put it out on the airwaves today, and I put a short clip in early in the video. So California, baby, here we come. Going to AWE. Like, subscribe. Make sure you do what you got to do. Share this across the airwaves, and make sure that we're sharing the AWE information. I want everybody to know that I'm going to the AWE, and it's going to be a boatload of fun. And yeah, I'm going to take pictures and videos and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, peace.